Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Empyrion Galactic Survival episode 25. I'm Enigmius and today we got a lot done since the last episode and we're going to take a look at all of it. We're still here on the moon. You can see we've got our capital ship there, and if you've been following this series, you saw the last episode, you might be wondering how could it possibly be that we're standing somewhere looking down on our capital ship. And the answer would be that we've made our moon base. I need to finish the paint job. I just barely, like literally 10 minutes ago, started it. And now we need to finish it. And we've got our first little small vessel that we're going to be using to cruise around on the planet when it's not practical to take the capital vessel. Frankly, it's very rarely practical to take the capital vessel out on a cruise of a moon, but it's our most heavily armed ship right now. And we kind of have to, keep that in mind. One thing that I learned, much to my dismay, is this plasma cannon that we put on the top. That was going to be our saving grace for picking off the turrets of the various different structures that we would come across on the moon. It can only be used in space. And I would have known this if I had read the tooltip before I placed the weapon. That having been said, it'll be handy when we're in space and going after stations and drones and all that other stuff, but it doesn't do us a damn bit of good here on the planet. So we're actually going to take a look at the moon base first while we have the sun, because it'll be a lot easier to look at this if it's dark later on. The easiest way to do this, yes, our jetpack is on, is to jump off of the moon base and then use our jetpack to slow our descent before we hit the ground. So relative to our base on Akua, this is a much larger base. It's specifically designed to be simple. We built it all out of concrete blocks because we had a ton of them, and I figured why not? It's got a lot of space inside that we haven't necessarily all used up, and it's extremely well defended with automatic turrets, even though the lower four are pretty much useless on the moon. I've discovered these are cannon turrets on this level here. Each one of these little platforms sticking out from the corner is a cannon turret, and then there's one on the far corner there and one in the back corner as well. We had to be very careful about the structural integrity of this whole thing because we didn't really go very tall with our base on Akua, but this one's much taller, and we had to keep an eye on the structural integrity. If you haven't seen it, there's a little option here where you can turn this on and you can look at one of your structures. This one apparently doesn't count as a structure, but this one does. And you can see all the green where we've shored things up with the cylindrical columns. And up there where it's starting to turn orange is where the structural integrity is starting to weaken. If you continue to build onto something like that in a way that's not strong and not reinforced, eventually it will collapse. And the blocks that made up that part that collapsed will be destroyed. So there's something to keep in mind. That's why it's always a good idea to make sure. And also, I have no idea what impact the structural integrity has on its ability to withstand damage in combat. It could be no impact whatsoever. It could be a fairly substantial impact. I'm not going to take the chance. So we've got a little bit of weakness way up in the corners, but it's not that bad. I'm not too worried about it. This view, I've mentioned it previously when I've showed this view. I find it absolutely mesmerizing, and it's sometimes difficult to turn it off because I just don't want to. So we've got the staircase leading up inside, and this is a very utilitarian kind of build. We've got some fuel tanks and a single large generator right there. Keep in mind that this is the large generator that we've been using up to this point. It's the only one that was available until recently. I don't know exactly how recently, but I'm getting in the habit of looking at my tech tree because apparently little things get added all the time, like a tier 2 version of the large generator, which has 10 times the power output for 8 times the size. It's a pretty good deal. There's also some tier 3 fuel tanks that were recently added that carry a lot more fuel for the space that they consume relative to the previous top tier. We've got oxygen. Speaking of which, every time I turn around, our oxygen is depleted and we need something to eat. My decision to put a farm in the back of our capital vessel has paid off in spades. It's actually the only reason why we're still here on the moon instead of having to go back to Akua and pick up more food, is that we're able to make our own food, 12 cans of canned vegetables at a time. So that's basically this lower area. There's not a ton of stuff going on here. It's the generator and the oxygen tanks that hold the oxygen bottles and the oxygen station. We've also got our ammunition boxes, 2 of them, with the goods distributed between the 2. So we've got ammunition for the cannon turrets and ammunition for the flak turrets on the roof. And if this box gets destroyed, we've still got cannon ammunition and flak ammunition in this side. So I don't expect that these things will be anywhere near getting destroyed, but you never know. This is the upper floor, which is the one obviously with the most available space. I don't necessarily know what I will put here, but you never know. Things might go really well on the moon here. It might be well worth our time to put in a large processing facility, or it doesn't really matter what. We've got room to add it, and it didn't really cost us much by way of concrete to make it happen. So it's there, it's ready to be used. We've got a tier 2 constructor here so that we can make anything that we need, and we've got some cargo boxes to obviously contain all of the parts and materials and whatever we want to store. That's a lot of storage for what we've got set up so far. And then up here, we end up on the roof. Pretty simple, straightforward. We've got our ship parked up here. I just finished this today. I just started actually building this today, and I had a little bit of time. I had like 20 minutes, half hour. I said, okay, I'll get started, and that'll be what I'll do for this today. And then I kept coming back. I couldn't help myself. I just wanted to add more stuff. We're going to take a closer look at that momentarily, but first I want to talk about these flat cannons, because these things are absolutely fantastic at shooting down drones. I have literally had situations, and I'm going to see if I can find specifically the hill. I don't think I'm going to find which hill specifically. I think we'll pretend it was this one. Either one. There's this hill here or this hill here. While I was up on the roof, I was finishing things off. I was building them, but I had the cannons in place and I had ammunition there ready for them to use. And all of a sudden I hear this bang, bang, bang. And I look up and I see the tracers from the cannon, or from the flak ammunition. And the next thing you know, everything is quiet. So I would run up over the hill, down the other side, and I would find a destroyed drone sitting on the ground smoking. The drones don't even get close enough for them to show up on sensors, and these guns shoot them down, and they're accurate as hell. I should say, because of the nature of flak ammunition, how it explodes, and aircraft don't like that, they're extremely effective at shooting down drones. These are the best things that I've put on a structure or a ship in a long time. So definitely we're well covered for aerial defense in our moon base. Now, this is our ship. It looks a little bit weird from down on the ground because we made some last minute modifications to accommodate landing gears and things like that. And also we've got rail guns on this guy instead of Gatling guns. And we've got 3 because we want to throw down as much fire as we can. I made 4 actually of these, and I'm thinking of relocating them so that we have 2 on either side of this cockpit sort of thing. Now for the rest of this, we're going to use the drone to look at it just because it's a lot easier to get the viewpoints that we want. I'm using the cockpit variant that is just basically a seat and a little console. It doesn't come with its own glass around the seat. So you can place it and then you can build your own cockpit around it, and that's what I've done here. And I'm actually pretty happy with the way it turned out. It kind of has a bit of a nice look to it. It's very utilitarian. It's all made out of armored glass, and it's probably going to get holes blown in it the first time I encounter something with guns, but I made it, it's mine, and I'm pretty happy with it. And then we've got this detailing up top that kind of leads down to, I'm so reluctant to call them wings because they don't create any lift, but we've got these pods sticking out the side that have got thrusters and lights hanging off of them, and more thrusters in the sides, and then all this stuff going on up top. I'm really happy with the look of it. Clearly it needs a paint job because this gray on gray sort of thing, which is basically determined by the light hitting it, isn't really kind of showing it off to its fullest potential. And the entrance for this little ship is back here. The drone would stop wiggling back and forth. And we have the basics in the back. We've got fuel tanks, generators, RCS units, oxygen tanks, a little fridge so that we can carry food with us, cargo containers, etc., etc. The bare basics that I would put in a little ship like this, where we're in an atmosphere that's definitely more hostile than it was on Akua, specifically because of the oxygen. So, having said all that, what are we going to do with all this stuff now? Well, we've got some structures that we need to clear out. And again, we're not interested in taking control of them. We're interested in getting rid of them so that they're no longer a threat. Because there's all kinds of really cool stuff on this moon that we want to be able to access. Like, for example, I found 2 sites of neodymium that we definitely want to be able to get to. We found, what else did we find? Promethium. I think there was one of the other rare minerals that we came across when we were out sort of exploring very carefully. There's a lot of stuff that we want to do here, but there's also a really densely packed network of structures with guns that we need to take care of before we can do that. So what I did was I was using our capital vessel and one of the minigun turrets to try and pull the turrets off of one of the structures, the one that resembles a drone base. And it's one of those things, you shoot in the general direction of where you think the turrets are because you can't zoom in and you're much farther away now than you've ever been before. So doing our best to kind of shoot in a relative direction, and then we hop out of the cockpit and then we switch to the sniper rifle so that we can zoom in and find out that we didn't destroy any of the turrets, and then we hop back into the cockpit, hop into the turret, shoot some more, and then fortunately, in our case, after just a few attempts, we managed to get 3 of the turrets off of the structure, and the 4th turret is on the side facing another nearby structure, so we're going to have cover approaching the tower, and as long as we can get in without having to go around to the other side, we should be in a good position to assault it, and I think that's what we should do. I'm just checking, we've got ammunition. Yeah, we've got plenty of ammunition. We're going to take our little ship, minus the paint job, and we're gonna go see what we can see with regards to that structure. The way things have been working out on this little moon, I'd be kind of surprised if we were able to get a clean approach without coming across another structure that we hadn't seen before that would be in firing range. Now, this isn't the most effective way to have to enter a ship, but it's our way. So that's what we're gonna do. So how are we looking? Yeah, we're nowhere near maximum power draw for this little guy. This is the farthest I've flown this ship, but so far it seems to be doing all right. It feels maneuverable. It's moving along at a pretty good clip, and there's our target there. So if we can get up here without getting shot out of the sky, that'll be the win-win scenario, and then we'll get down to the business of shooting all the bad guys inside and getting ourselves some loot, which could possibly include some more epic weaponry. Point of interest, drone base. Yeah, that makes sense. Now we're gonna, again, carefully, very carefully position ourselves so that the drone base is between us and the other structure that's just on the other side. I think it's a control base or a communication base, one of the two. So oh, there's a spawn pad. Oh jeez, there's a thing shooting at us and I don't even know where it is. Look, you thing that is shooting at us. Look, there's one there. And then there's another one there, and this guy is shooting at us. And I can't see where that other guy was. All I know for sure is that, oh, he's shooting through the hill. Is that what this is? The misbehaving guy shooting through the damn hill? That is just so inappropriate. See, now he's shooting at his own drone base trying to get to us. And I'm wondering if we're pushing our luck. Alright, so I'm going to have to take care of some of these structures that are nearby the drone base before we have really any chance of clearing it away. The thing is, if I land the ship and start exploring, One, they're going to be shooting at me, and I'll die very, very quickly if I get hit. Two, they're going to keep shooting at the ship, and they've already demonstrated that they can hit it, even though we've tried to use cover to protect ourselves. So, as silly as it might seem to have to retreat after we did such a good job of cleaning the whole thing off, we're going to have no choice. We're going to have to bring the capital ship back into play, clear out more turrets, and then hopefully we'll be able to make a more successful run at glory and free epic loots. See, I like the look of this ship from the top. We'll just kind of land. Shut all the things down. And let's see, do we have a lot of damage to things that we didn't want damaged? Look at this, thrusters. Taking a thumping all over the damn place. At least it's not the guns, because the guns are a little bit pricey to make. We're going to hop out, and we're going to take a look at these guys. They recently added deformation models for the thrusters, so that if you've got thruster damage, you can kind of see just by looking at it, and you can also see when it's basically been repaired, which is kind of cool. These guys aren't damaged. That guy's not damaged. That guy's a little bit smushed. I saw a bunch of deformation on the blocks as well, especially from the top, which is not that big of a deal. We'll kind of, we'll do a quick pass over all of that before we bring this guy back into service. So we're going to paint this guy. We're going to get the capital ship to clear off some turrets, and then we're going to come back in the next episode, and we're going to go land next to the drone base to start, and we're going to clear it out and continue clearing out bases until there's nothing left here except for the ore deposits that we're going to pillage and plunder because we've conquered everything. So if you want to be notified when I add the next video, the easiest way to do that is to subscribe to my channel, of course, or follow me on social media. You can follow me with the links in the information section below the video. Feel free to leave your comments and feedback. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.